So I played Helldivers 2 for almost 90 hours. It's a great game. I have like 31 out of 38 challenges unlocked, and it just goes to show how much I love the game. But there's still a lot of things that need to be fixed and a lot of things that need to be added to this game to feel like a complete game, because after you reach like level 30 and above, it just all feels lackluster. But I have a bunch of ideas, so let's talk about it.
Hello, my name is Grumpy.
So I guess that everyone is gonna rage if I don't mention the server stability first. And of course that needs to be at the top of the priority list for sure, but here's the thing. Arrowhead Studios is not EA or Activision or any of the AAA companies. The original Helldivers game had like a peak of 10,000 concurrent players, and Helldivers 2, as you may know, is at the top of the Steam charts for like a week and a half because of how awesome it is. So let's try to be reasonable here. You shouldn't be angry at the devs. And you shouldn't even get a refund, they simply did not expect this many players. And I have to be honest, even though the servers were full for most of the week, making some of us wait for hours and hours to play the game, this is the first time I saw a development team with such dedication that they were working overtime the whole fucking weekend trying to fix the servers. And it's not just that, they compensated all of us for the bad server performance by giving us XP and the in-game currency. So instead of being angry at them, you should applaud them for being so committed to the cause of delivering liberty and managed democracy to those socialist bugs. And just for that, I tip my hat to you, good sirs. So yeah, this should absolutely be at the top of the list of their priorities. And even though some of it seems to be fixed, the servers are still very unstable, and the wait time to join when the US guys start playing can be up to half an hour. But honestly, I didn't even want to talk about this because you can see that they were actually trying very hard to keep us all pleased, and that the overnight fame and glory of this game just took them all by surprise. And as you may already know, there is a way to skip the queue, but if I tell you how to do it, that might break the game. Hey, over here, come closer. So you gotta join your friends through Steam, and it's gonna work. Alright, bye now. Motherfucker. But let's continue and talk about the stuff that the game really needs to survive the harsh gaming market in the years to come. And as I said in the intro, I'm already level 36 or 37, I don't even know, in this game, and I have already unlocked all of the stratagems and most of the weapons from the Warband store as well. And I like the game that much that this is actually the first time that I want to complete all the challenges on Steam. But honestly, after I finish all of those, I don't think I'll be playing it that much, if at all. I mean, it obviously depends on my friends and if they still want to play it. And as I've said in my review, up until this point, I used to hop into Battlefront 2 from time to time just to play in co-op mode with my friends. But this game completely replaced that game for me. So what I'm saying is that I fear that this game might die as fast as it took it to get to the top of the Steam charts, because the hype around it is already dying down a little, unless of course we get a constant stream of content and things to unlock. And I'm not talking about the store-bought items or anything of that sort. I love that the developers are conscious enough to not monetize every segment of this game, and that's one of the strengths that drew a lot of us into it, and if that changes, they will lose a big portion of the player base. So it's nice to hear that they have stated that they will not monetize any of the upcoming DLCs. But the issue is that currently the game doesn't really have that much content. Don't get me wrong, the content that it has is extremely fun and it offers a ton of replayability, but I don't think it's enough to keep us playing for years, or honestly even for months. So what I would love to see is a constant stream of new stratagems and a bunch of new unlockable weapons and items that will make this game much more fun, like at least once a month, or maybe even twice a month, just to have something to grind for. They don't need to be OP, they just need to offer us different gameplay opportunities. As an example, I have never used the orbital gas strike, so I don't even know if it's effective or not. But what I do know is that it should be really easy to make a mortar that will drop gas canisters on the enemies and negate the area for a while. And since they already have the manned HMG emplacement stratagem, I would say that it would be really easy to have a grenade launcher emplacement or something like that. Or maybe something as stupid as an automatic flamethrower turret, or something better like a manned AA gun. And I'm just going off of the things that we already have in the game. So it should be really easy to make it. Is it a good idea? Not really, but at least it's something that could be cool to have in certain situations. And it goes the same with the support and primary weapons. I would love to see more specialized weapons like the spear or the javelin, so we would need to think about what we're bringing to the battlefield. And speaking of weapons, let's talk about the balance. We already have a few different weapons to unlock, but the issue is that most of us are only using a couple of meta weapons. And of course, I'm talking about the auto shotgun as the primary weapon and a railgun as a support weapon. Seriously, a javelin should one-shot a tank or a heavy, especially considering how much time it needs to lock onto a target, and how exposed you have to be to shoot it, or even how much the ammo for it costs. On the other hand, the railgun will kill the heaviest targets in a much shorter time span, and it only costs you 2 resupply boxes to refill your ammo completely. And this is not how it should work in my opinion. Also, the last unlockable primary weapon from the premium Warband store deals almost no damage. Before the last patch, it couldn't even destroy the eggs in the nests. And that's how bad it was. It was probably a bug, but it still doesn't really feel balanced. I get that the premium weapons are not supposed to be overpowered, but they shouldn't be underpowered either. Also, the AR that you get at the start of the game feels like it's better than most of the weapons in the Warband store, and then the auto shotgun is better than almost all of them, so you really don't feel any sense of progression while playing. Sure, you can say that it's a good thing that you can unlock the best weapons really fast, and that you get a really good weapon at the very start of the game, but again, if there is no sense of progression, there is no reason to play the game once it gets a bit stale. But the weapons are not the only things that need balancing right now. The game itself is very unbalanced, even though they tried to fix some of the balance issues with a hotfix, and sure, it helped out a bit, but the game is unfortunately very unbalanced and it needs a lot of attention. As an example, you can easily do the missions where you need to exterminate a certain amount of robots in a certain amount of time. We've done those missions on the hardest difficulties because they are that easy to do. You just plonk a bunch of mortar and autocannon turrets down and you just basically wait until the mission finishes itself, and then you leave the campaign because the other missions are simply impossible to do on that difficulty. And that's how most people are currently grinding XP and the in-game currency. And I did it as well. But then you try any of the other missions on the same difficulty level and they're impossible to do unless you try to do them while being stealthy. But even then, it's way too hard to finish them. And if you don't finish them, you just wasted your time. So I'm not saying that they need to lower the difficulty levels, no, but they need to balance them out a bit. And they need to give players some debuffs if they are constantly leaving campaigns unfinished because they just wanted to do that one mission to grind the XP. But speaking of balancing things out, let's talk about the things that I would love to see in the game that could potentially balance out the higher difficulty levels. The first thing would be to have a higher player count on high difficulty missions. I say that 8 players in a game would be a good number, and I know what you're gonna say now.
You obviously didn't play the original game. Wow, it was only 4 players. Wow.
It doesn't matter. The original game had a top-down view, and it wasn't as successful as this game is. I've been playing since the launch, and I can't tell you how many times I had my friends sitting out and waiting for one of us to leave so they can join the party. And I'm pretty sure that everyone had those issues. Making the player cap higher at higher difficulty levels would not only be fun, but it would look great and be super immersive at the same time, whilst fixing some of the balance issues. Just imagine 8 of you with all the gear in the world fighting against a ton of robots or bugs and still getting overrun on the Helldiver difficulty. I honestly think that it will be fun, immersive, and really good for the game. But there are also other ways to fix the balancing issues. The developers have already teased us with mech suits in one of the trailers, but we still don't have them, and the only way to finish high difficulty missions is to try to be undetected. Which is fun to a degree, but that is simply not why most of us got the game, and it would be amazing if we could have both of the approaches available to us. If you want to play like you're playing Splinter Cell and you're Sam Fisher himself, sure, go for it. But me and most of the players that I know, we just want to see the world burn and to deliver managed democracy with as many bullets as we can. So what I'm saying is, I would love to see them working on some OP primary and support weapons, vehicles, and mech suits that will help us finish those highest difficulty missions, even if we want to go in guns blazing. Sure, it still needs to be balanced and skill-based, but even if those things were too OP for lower difficulties, the devs could limit our access to them to only suicide mission difficulty and above. But let's talk about some quality of life improvements that I would like to see. First off, I would love to see an official website where the developers would post info on upcoming updates and events, so they could keep the community hyped and informed, and so they could tease the community with new weapons, stratagems, and whatever content is in the makes. The game itself didn't see that much promo. At least I didn't see any promo outside of a couple of videos on IGN. But now that the game exploded, Arrowhead really needs to keep the hype train running, or the players will forget about it. Of course, the best PR is having a great game, and they did that already. But now they will need people like me or other content creators to give them good PR. And I'm not talking about paying content creators to lie in their reviews or to promote their game. On the contrary, the best promo is just having people excited because you have a great fucking product. And I know that I would love to cover this game more in the future, but I can't sit on Twitter or in their Discord or roam some of the gaming websites just to get new info on what's happening with the game. All the info should be coming from the official website of the game, so we would know what the official statements are. But this, of course, goes both ways, and let me explain. Let's say you have experienced a bug, and it's pretty persistent. As an example, the only way I can get into the game right now is to join some of my friends on their ships. If I try logging in on my own, I will be stuck looking at the exterior of the ship for hours, and it's not even a server issue, it is just a bug. So how do I report this? Who do I report it to? I mean, I guess I can go to Twitter and tell them, but they will probably not see it. I can make a video about it and nobody will see it. I could post my issue on the Steam page, but the developers will probably not see it. But if there was a way to report bugs on their website, it would be amazing. Just look at what CAG did with Star Citizen's issue console, which they later sold to Ubisoft so they can use it with Rainbow Six Siege. That whole system is pretty easy to use, even though I'm pretty sure that it isn't really as easy to make. But it works like this: you report a bug, and if enough players contribute to that report, and if they're saying that they're having the same issue, the developers get notified that there is a bug that needs to be fixed. And that whole bug reporting system that CAG or Cloud Imperium Games made for Star Citizen is just amazing. It's just weird that both Star Citizen and Rainbow Six Siege that use the same system are notorious of being fucking broken 100% of the time. But at least I guess that these developers know what they're doing. Yeah, I don't know. But let's talk about some quality of life improvements that we could see in the game right now. The first thing that we need is a way to save our preferred loadouts, because picking them before every mission is simply tedious and tiring. It's not that you only need to choose your stratagems, but once you get to higher difficulty levels, it's very important which armor and what primary weapon you're using. So it would be really nice to have a way to save a couple of loadouts so other people would stop screaming at you to press the ready button because they were already prepared. It would also be nice to get more stats on your gear and your stratagems, or even to compare weapons and armors directly. I unlocked everything, and I'm still not sure if one grenade is better than the other, as an example. And I still don't know what's up with the 500 kilogram bomb and why its AoE is so low compared to other orbital strikes and airstrikes. So it would be really nice if we could see all the stats in the game itself. But let's continue with my wishes. And listen, this one is going to make some of the people very pissed off in the comments, but I don't care as long as you keep it civil. So being a DayZ, Destiny 2 and a Star Citizen player, I would love to see our ships being more customizable, or for the devs to give us a way to unlock new ships. They don't need to do anything else or to be better in any way, but since they're our homes or our main hubs, I would love to have some customizability to it. You know how players are. We just want to show our bases off to other people. I mean, it's not that we need them, and I also get the whole fascism, managed democracy thing with having everything being homogeneous, but if we can customize our armor and if they all look different, why shouldn't the ships look different as well? It's also one more thing that's gonna keep us entertained for a while. And if any developers are watching, listen up, this one is very important. I think that we can all agree that this game has one of the best monetization strategies that we have seen in the past few years. There is no doubt about it. It's not pay to win, and it's really easy to get the cosmetics through just playing the game. But what happens if you have unlocked all of the stratagems, or all of the warband stuff, or maybe all of the ship upgrades? You simply accumulate the funds until you reach the maximum cap. So that is why I would love to see a way to convert the requisition points to medals, or even to super credits. And hear me out. All that you can do once you have unlocked everything is just sit at the maximum cap of requisition points and wait for the the next DLC to get a new stratagem, so there's no point in grinding anymore, so I would love to be able to buy stuff from the superstore with those requisition points. And of course, my last wish is gonna be swords. Just swords. Any kind of, like, it can be laser swords, and I'm not gonna say the other thing because Disney, you know, but like laser swords or chainsaw swords, I'm down for whatever, just like swords. Like swords are just fun. And like restrict them to like mech suits. Fine. And they can be completely shit. But just swords. Like it. Please. Anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons and my supporters on YouTube for supporting me. If you want to become a patron or a supporter on YouTube, the link is down in the description for the Patreon and on the sides down there somewhere for YouTube. And if you want to support me, like, there's a way. If you want to get my merch, the merch is on the store, also in the description. It's cool, it's fun. I'm not wearing my merch, but my merch is mostly like Star Citizen based, and like it's just like jokes and fun. But yeah, so thank you for watching. And one more thing, I didn't talk about like missions and like variation between them, because we already know that like that's in the works, and the developers are very vocal about like giving us more content. So I only wanted to talk about things that they might have missed. So yeah, thank you for watching, and don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling through space, and mwah. And also swords. Please, just like swords. Like any kind of swords. It could be small swords. Anyway, bye.
And buy 2 games.
Thank you. Oh,
There
that
it
was
is.
fucking fast. I skipped the queue completely.
Yeah, 100% of the time it works.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Don't tell people.
I mean,